Coming in Facebook, coming in YouTube, getting ready to start my show called Jimmy Rants over on Instagram Live. Thank you for being here today. Went a little bit early today live with you guys. I always like to come on super early with you guys when I can. That way we can just jibber jabber casually. Hello Norma, hello Sandy. So yeah, I am on several minutes. We're almost just under 5 minutes away from starting Jimmy Rants. But yeah, this is my last week, so why not do things a little bit funky monkey the last week of the year? Hello, Sharon. Good morning to you. I hope, by the way, those of you who are watching this on YouTube and on Facebook, that you are engaging in my work this week. So if you leave me a comment this week on anything that I do, so if you're watching live, so that's you doing this right now. Hello, Christine. Hello, Sylvia. So if you're watching me live, or if you're watching a video on YouTube, a replay of the Jimmy Rants, or if you're over on Instagram or Facebook and you see something that I post on social media and you leave a comment, everybody who comments on anything I'm doing this week, hello, Emily, I'm giving you a chance to win one of my books, one of my 7 books with a major publisher. Hello, Bill from Dallas over on YouTube. So be doing that. I gave away 4 books yesterday, 2 on Instagram, 1 on Facebook, and 1 on YouTube. So if you're a winner, I will type underneath your comment, hey, you won the book. I'm doing it totally but at random, so don't think I'm like looking for some creative comment. Although if you want to leave me a creative comment, I never turn that down. But yeah, so take advantage of that. This is my last week of 2020, so this is my way of saying thank you to all of you guys for always supporting my work, always being here on Jimmy Rants, engaging in the content. A lot of you say very nice things to me. I've got a few that don't say very nice things to me, but the vast majority of you say wonderful things to me. And so I want to reward you for that and show my thanks and my sincere gratitude. Not enough good people in this world anymore. And so you kind of have to like find your tribe and see who you connect with. And so I love it when I'm able to be me, fully me, silliness and all, speaking truth, and yet you still stick around. So I appreciate that. And thank you, Sharon. I love every minute of what I get to do. Although I ain't gonna lie, I'm looking forward to getting away from all you people for 2 months in the months of November and December. It's going to be glorious to wake up in the morning and feel like I'm back on sabbatical again. So last year when I went away on sabbatical in September, I thought I was going to miss you guys, and I did, don't get me wrong, but I thought I was gonna miss the work and be pining to be on video, and I just wanted to do a whole lot of nothing. And that's what I did for 6 months. It was glorious. So gonna definitely do that this time around. And the fun part is I already know what it's like to go away now for an extended period of time. So I don't think it will be near the emotional letting go once I leave. Saturday is my last day. It won't be near the emotion it was the last time because it was the great unknown. And then I came back and was like, whoa, I know how to ride this bicycle, but it was different. You know what I mean? So you will be back, right? Sharon, I don't know, to be honest. Life has been tough this year, and we're going to talk about that on today's episode of Jimmy Rants, some of the frustrations of this year. Obviously, I want to be back. Obviously, I want to keep doing what I'm doing. But I've had some frustrations this year, which I'm going to share in today's episode that I think might be helpful. Hello, Sally. Thank you for being here today. All right. Hello, Bobby over on YouTube. All right, so just a reminder, since yesterday my giveaway for the Farewell Freebies contest was on Instagram, one of you 2 guys are going to be my winner. So as I'm giving commentary and as you're engaging in the Jimmy Rants today, leave me a comment. And somebody that leaves a comment either on Facebook or on YouTube is going to win your choice of any of my books. So I have them all right here, and you'll get to choose which one. So get ready. I'm just going to tell you now, it's one of the 2 of you, that's going to end up winning. Hello, Lynn. Thank you for being here today. Okay, we're going to get this show on the road over on Instagram. Thank you so much for being here today. And here we go. What has frustrated you in 2020, and what have you learned about yourself? Find out the details here today on Jimmy Rants. Click on that little box down there in the corner. It'll take you straight to IGTV for today's episode. JimmyRants.com is the website, and as always, you can engage live in the content. You got to go follow me. I'm over on Instagram. I'm at Living Low Carb Man, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. Once you're there, engage live, and we are here Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, so thank you so much for being here today. We also go live simulcast over on Facebook as well as on YouTube. Thank you guys for being here, and thank you all for being here today on Jimmy Rants. If you missed the live, you can watch it on replay over at IGTV. Just as soon as this is over, we throw it right up on Instagram so that you guys can see the replay. Thank you if you're watching this on the replay. We also put the replay up over on YouTube. Just type in a keyword, Jimmy Rants. You will find the show. Over on YouTube today, you have all kinds of little things. I did a little snippet of the Friday Ask Me Anything where I talked about how my process for writing a book. So I got that little snippet up over there and all kinds of surprises. Go over to my YouTube channel and definitely subscribe. I don't usually pump my YouTube channel. It's right at 16,000 followers. So if you want to grow my YouTube, that would be wonderful. And then we do have a special Jimmy Rants episode on Living La Vida Low Carb show on Tuesdays. So that's the day that I air a past episode of Jimmy Rants, the audio on my flagship podcast. So LLVLC.com. It's the one where I talked about that fasting study that was published in the Journal of the American Medical Association that said fasting really didn't do anything for weight loss. And so I totally tore that apart. And you can go watch that or listen to that, today on the Living La Vida Low Carb show, LLVLC.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. And then finally, pop on over to the official website for this show. It is JimmyRants.com. While you're there, you can see all the past episodes, and you can also show your support for my work either through PayPal or Patreon. But guys, this is farewell freebies week because this is my last week of 2020. I am going away in the months of November and December. So to celebrate that, I thought, I love you guys. I want to give back to you and show my appreciation to you as my followers. So I'm giving away free copies of literally all of my books. So I've written 9 total books, but I've got 7 with a major publisher. And so the 7 with the publisher are the ones that I'm giving away. And so you will get to have your choice of any of these books if you are chosen as the winner. And I've been doing this on my social media posts. Literally all you have to do is leave a comment on anything that I'm writing about or doing this week on social media. Those of you on Jimmy Rants, one of you today is going to win a copy of one of my books here live on the air. I will choose a winner. Yesterday, the winner was here on Instagram, so today it'll either be Facebook or YouTube. So get ready, you guys. One of you are going to win one of my books on the air. But if you're watching this on the replay, I'm also looking at those. I'm just randomly choosing people at random. You don't know when I'm going to do it, but a whole bunch of you is going to win books this week. I gave away, 4 books yesterday. I'm going to probably end up giving away several dozen books by the end of the week. So you are here today, engage in the show, and you might win one of my books. All right, so today I wanted to do a little bit different kind of Jimmy Rants, because most of the time I read an article, I give my commentary, I read a study, I give my commentary, and that's the show. And then I get your input at the end, bada bing, bada boom, that's it. Today I want to be a little more raw, a little more open, a little more inviting you to talk to me and be honest with me and tell me how you're really feeling, because 2020 has been one of the most extraordinary years of our entire lives. Can we all admit that? 2020 has been a year like none other, a year that none of us saw coming, And yet a year where I think we've learned some things, but some things have been frustrating. So I want to give you an opportunity to have a platform by which to share the things that you feel most frustrated about this year, the things that you feel like you're not able to talk about because if you talk about them, you get eviscerated online. Well, you're in a safe place. I don't care what your belief is, what your frustration is. You tell me what your frustration is and get it out here today on Jimmy Rants. There will be no shaming. If after the fact I see people making ugly comments towards you, I will block and delete them. So come on in, make yourself at home. I want to talk about the frustrations that you have about 2020 and things that you've learned, because I've learned in my life, whenever I've been frustrated or go through a difficult time, always on the other side of all that is massive wisdom, massive knowledge to apply for the rest of my life. And I know the same's going to happen this year. So let me start, and then I'm going to come to you guys here in a minute. Frustrations. Even before all the COVID stuff and the race relations stuff and the presidential election stuff and all the stuff, I was dealing with some personal issues myself in my life. Been a very trying year and a half. And it all started really when I went away on sabbatical last year. So went away 2 weeks later. My stepfather died, and I had some things come out from my past that kind of opened up the childhood trauma wound. And so that kind of started a lot of this introspection in my own life. And it led to some decisions that I needed to have made in order to move on with my life. And so I'm still dealing with some of the ramifications of that decision and those decisions that I've made. So that's one, is the whole unresolved of like personal things. And I'm sure you can relate. Maybe there's things in your life that have been unresolved for a long time. Maybe it's a health issue you're dealing with. Maybe it's frustration over a relationship you've been in. Maybe it's frustration over a job situation. Any number of things like that could hit you. So I know we're all dealing with those personal issues and personal frustrations. But let's move to COVID. Because when this thing hit, it hit basically 10 days after I got back from sabbatical. Now, I went away on sabbatical last September, and for 6 months, I made no money. So my full intention was go away for 6 months, get refreshed, come back in March, and do all the Jimmy things to make money. Well, unfortunately, I get back, and I start ramping up all the everything, and then suddenly we all lock down. And a lot of businesses start fretting and start getting scared. And I don't blame them. I would too, with all the COVID stuff at the beginning that even some are still dealing with even now. And so the frustration has been that I haven't made any money from traditional sources this year. And so that's been frustrating for me. And quite frankly, I'm going to be real with you guys. Quite frankly, I put out the call on every single Jimmy Rants that if you like what I do, you can support me either through a Patreon link or a PayPal link at jimmyrants.com. And other than a couple dozen people, it hasn't been anybody else. And so people often say, well, I don't like it that you have advertisers on your shows. You should just be supported by your followers. Well, unfortunately, people can't, apparently, because I haven't gotten those. Now, I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying that that model doesn't work, at least not for me. And so it's been tough. It's been a frustration. I've been basically doing all of the work I've done this year has been on my own dime, which I love what I do. Don't get me wrong. I love educating. I love sharing. I love being able to come on camera, talk to you, go behind the microphone on my podcast, talk to you, write posts that are inspiring and doing all the things. But it's a little bit frustrating, if I'm being honest, to do all that work and then feel like it's not being adequately compensated. So I'm going to come back strong in 2021. It's not really that big a deal, but it is something I noticed that is a frustration. But even COVID itself, let's move to that. When this thing first hit, all we heard was put on a mask, socially distance, stay at home, all of these wash your hands, all these kind of messages that at face value all seemed like great things. The problem was it wasn't the thing that they needed to be focusing on primarily, and yet it's exclusively what they focused on. They didn't tell people get outside and get fresh air and sunshine and movement, get vitamin C and vitamin D and zinc. They didn't tell us any of these kind of preventative measures, things that you could do, get off the junk food and eat real food that could boost the host for this virus. So if it hits you, it wouldn't really harm you. That was a major error, and they're still making that error today. So that's been a huge frustration. If we have a virus that depends on you being sick, why wouldn't you tell people how they don't get sick? So that's been incredibly frustrating. And then this drumbeat of, okay, we're going to just wait for this big victorious vaccine to come in and save the day. And what they're not telling people is, and I talked about this in one of the clips on Jimmy Rants recently, last week, what they're not telling you is that vaccine is not going to prevent you from getting sick from COVID-19. That vaccine is not going to prevent you from dying. It's just not. So we have all of these things that don't really matter, and then this steady drumbeat of wait for a vaccine, wait for a vaccine, wait for a vaccine. That's been frustrating. Just tell people what they can do now as a prophylactic, what they can do in their lifestyle to be healthy. How hard is that? And if this is really about public health, why wasn't that the front and center message? Now, a couple of months ago, Dr. Fauci was on with Jennifer Garner in an Instagram Live and said, oh yeah, I've been taking vitamin C and vitamin D. Well, now you tell people to take those things. Where was that 6 months prior? Frustration. And then just like the economic shutdown and how it's just destroyed a lot of the economy. And so it's made it hard on people. People have lost their jobs. People have uncertainty financially. Like, that's all frustrating. And if that's literally all it was for the whole year, it would be bad enough. But then you add all the racial tension that happened and how every single little incident that involved a white cop with a black suspect suddenly became this huge story in 2020. Now, yes, they've been making a big deal about those things, and they're tragic when shootings happen, but they blew it up as if this is what happens on a daily basis by every white cop against every black suspect, and it's simply not true. So my frustration is you can't point that out without getting eviscerated online. And so it's frustrating because it's a narrative that doesn't match up with the evidence. The evidence shows there's more black people killed by other black people than literally any segment of the population. Now, that's a hard reality, but we need to be talking about those things. So it's frustrating that they want to put the focus on the racial tension of it all. The white cop is racist and the black suspect is innocent and unarmed. And most of the time they're not innocent and they're not necessarily unarmed. Frustrating. Then let's move to censorship. There has been so much censorship on social media this year. I mean, outright, they're not even trying to hide it anymore, censorship. And it's not just political censorship, they are doing that, but a lot about the health stuff. A lot of us alternative health influencers, you may or may not know, are being heavily shadow banned, which means you are still online, you're still creating content, but you don't realize people aren't seeing your stuff. A lot of you guys have told me, at least here on Instagram, that when I go live on Instagram, you don't always see it go live at the top. That's shadow banning. So that's where you're still on there, but you don't realize you've been banned, shadow banned, and only a select group of people who directly follow you even know you're doing content. Because I'll have people, even on Facebook, I've had recently say, oh my God, I thought you went away because I hadn't seen your stuff for a few months. And now I see you've been posting for a little while. I'm like, yeah, I post daily. If you see me, quote, go away, other than November and December coming up, I am going to be gone. But if you see me not there, it means I'm probably shadow banned to you. So the way you fix that is you go directly to any of my sites, directly like subscribe to the posts over on YouTube. You can subscribe and then hit the bell for all, and you'll always get my stuff. And yeah, Emily's confirming I don't always get notified on Facebook when you're live. So same thing over here on Instagram. If you're not getting the notifications, you go to my page and you set up like notifications so that when I go live, you know. Although I do go live at exactly the same time, Monday through Friday. So I did that by design, by the way. When I first started Jimmy Rants, I used to do it at all times of the day, and people are like, I don't know when you're live. So I always do it 11 a.m. Eastern time, so you know that I'm here at that point, Monday through Friday. So that's been frustrating. And then the outright pulling of information just because some fact checker thinks it's incorrect. Who's fact checking the fact checker? So, man, and I'm just scratching the surface, guys, at some of the frustrating things. And if you just joined us, I'm going to give you the opportunity. Please, please share what has been most frustrating to you about this year of 2020. And have you learned anything? I'm going to get to some of the lessons I've learned here in a moment, but I want to keep going through the frustrations. So, yeah, and then it just seems to me that people, and maybe it's just been this way for a while and we're just now noticing it, but people simply don't think for themselves anymore. And yeah, I know it's been out there a while. People like to go along to get along, and they don't really think. They let other people think for them. And so that's frustrating to me, because one of the hallmarks of being American to me is having the free will to think for yourself and to believe what you want to believe, and then, you know, basically having friendly debate about things without any, I guess, contentiousness. And so cognitive thinking is gone. You can't really have a rational discussion with someone without it becoming this headbutting thing. And so we're seeing that even when people have differences of opinions on various issues. If you say the politically correct side of things, oh, you're heralded, oh, wow, what a wise person. But then if you counter that and say, well, what about this? You're eviscerated, you're canceled, you're told to shut up and to go away and da-da-da-da-da. And to me, that's wrong. Like, one of the things that has made America great over the years, and one of the things that has made us unique, is our ability to be able to have disagreement, and yet at the end of the day, still be Americans, still be United States of America. Quite frankly, guys, 2020 has shown we are anything but united. We are the divided states of America right now, because there is a segment of the population that believes one way and believes the direction of the country is not going the way they want it to go, and they want a radically upheaval of the government that's in place. And then you got others who believe in the founding of the country and want it to go another way. And so you have this kind of butting of the heads, and yet you're not allowed to talk about one side, but you're allowed to talk freely about the other side. The double standard is hypocrisy to me. And that's frustrating. Very, very frustrating. Not being able to just speak freely. That is what America's about, right? Like, we do still have First Amendment, right? Doesn't the First Amendment still apply? Freedom of speech. So frustrating. Okay, that's enough negative. I've got a few more, but I'm going to leave those off so I can hear what you have to say. But let me get to the lessons learned, and then I'll come to you guys. So I have learned in 2020 who my friends really are, because I don't know about you guys, but I have lost more than half of the people that I considered friends. Now, when I say friends, I'm using that term very loosely. I don't think anybody should have more than a small handful of like really genuinely close friends that go deep in conversation, you know, intimate details about each other. That's a real friendship. These other things, I wish we could have another term. Acquaintance just doesn't really apply, but for another term for those friends, those people that you talk to regularly enough, and they have interest in you and support you and da da da. I've got a lot of those, um, but I've lost a lot of those this year for some reason. I don't know if it's the stress of the year. I don't know if it's the changing of the things in life, both mine and theirs. But I lost a ton of friends this year. And so I learned who my real friends were this year. When the rubber hit the road and when things got tough, those people that stuck around, they're the tried and true. And some of those relationships that were kind of on the outskirts actually got very strong this year. And some of my strongest friends got super duper dippity strong. And I'm grateful for them because of the stuff I've been going through personally, plus all the rest of this stuff. Um, it's been helpful to have those kind of people in your life. And a lot of you guys have been good friends to me. Several of you I'm seeing on here now have actually supported me financially, supported me by checking in on me and encouraging me. So I'm grateful for you guys, and I do consider you friends across all three of these platforms. I can see people who have done just those things, and you know who you are. I don't have to name you by name. You know who you are. And so I've learned who the real people are in my life. Have you guys noticed that? Has there been a bright light shone right on and all the roaches scattered when that bright light came out? I'm glad I got Exterminator this year. Right? Got rid of all those roaches because they were just fake friends. And so I learned I had a whole lot of fake friends. And I don't do fake too well. And so now I know who good friends are, who real friends are. And I'm going to take that lesson moving forward. You want to be a friend of Jimmy Moore, it's a high bar because I don't just let anybody into my life. And especially the way I've been hurt by some of these people that called themselves friends and they were anything but friends. I've also learned this year, guys, the simplicity of gratitude. I've always been a grateful person. I've always been one to try to give back, but this year has really stepped it up. This year, I just have nothing but just gratitude in my heart for the things in my life, the people in my life, the circumstances, because I'm still alive, I'm still thriving, I'm still feeling good. I've got a good head on my shoulders, like all of the things that you would hope you could have at all times, you don't always have at all times. And so I've learned to have that sense of gratitude in all things, good, bad, and ugly. And I've had a lot of bad and ugly to be grateful for this year. And that's very difficult, by the way. I'll remind you. Gratefulness isn't only in the happy times. Gratefulness in the difficult times is even more meaningful. Because when you show that gratitude and you express a grateful heart, it shines through in you and people see that. And especially when they know you're going through stuff and yet they still see you smiling, they still see you making an impact in the world, that doesn't go unnoticed by people. And so that gratitude is just wonderful. I also am very, as far as lessons learned this year, I very much know who I am as a person. And some people kind of go, well, of course you do. Everybody knows who they are. Most people don't know who they are because they don't do the internal work to kind of look at who that human being is. And it's something I've been expressing a lot lately in my posts on social media. So if you're not reading my Instagram or my Facebook page, go follow some of the posts if you missed some of them. But I've been going deep where I'm challenging my readers to think deeper about what's going on in their own life. And so I've learned so many things about myself that I try to share that wisdom and try to share from my heart. And sometimes it's not fun stuff to share about. Sometimes it's not all roses, but it's stuff that I think we need to talk about. And we don't get real enough with one another and talk real life stuff. And if I see one more person who goes on social media and just talks about fluff, I'm going to scream because it's that fluff that does nothing for anybody. Some people like the fluff. It's like those people that go to a church where the pastor just tells them what they want to hear. Oh, it's all your best life and it's nothing you've ever had before, but that's not real life. Real life is where people are hurting, people are struggling, people don't know where they're going to go in their life, and they need someone to relate to. And so I share very openly, and I get criticized quite a bit for it, but I share very openly about some of the challenges. In fact, when I came back from sabbatical in March, I was talking about a lot of the childhood trauma stuff. And people were writing, oh my God, how do you talk about this stuff? It's horrible that you bring up the past. Just let it go, fat ass, da da da. You know, they do all that stuff. And I've just learned I'm going to be me. I've got to stay true to who I am. I've got to stay true to my calling. And whether you realize it or not, guys, you're looking at a guy who feels like he has a calling to speak what's on his heart. Now, sometimes that's not going to resonate with you, and that's cool. Doesn't always have to resonate. But it hopefully challenges you. Every time you engage in my work, you're challenged. And that's a lesson that I learned over this past year is we need to be challenging each other. If we only just tell our friends and our acquaintances in our lives and our followers, if you have a following on social media, if you're only telling them like fluff things or telling them things that they want to hear, oh, I don't want to say that because I might offend somebody and lose followers. If you're living your life that way, guess what? You're not living your life. You need to start grabbing that bull by the horns and living your life. And that's what I'm doing this year. And I'll tell you, I've had some fluctuation in my following this year because I talked about some pretty controversial stuff, and I don't back away from it. It's who I am. It's what I am. It's in my heart of hearts, and I'm going to do it. And that's a lesson that I've learned, and it's a lesson I hope I'm imparting and encouraging upon other people to do. Stop hiding behind who you think you should be and just be you, right? Okay, guys, so that's all of the things I have seen as frustrations in my life in 2020, the things that have frustrated me and the lessons that I've learned. I'm definitely excited to see what you guys have to say. And again, stick around at the end. I'm going to be giving away a copy of my books. At the end of this week is my last week of the year, and so I'm going away completely in November and December. So we're giving lots of books away. All right, so let's come here first to Instagram, then over to Facebook, finally over to YouTube. Thank you all for being here today on Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website, and again, thank you for letting me kind of go off script a little bit. Usually on Jimmy Rants, for those of you that are new, I read from a news article or a study, and then I give my commentary about it. But today, this was weighing heavy on my heart, that there's things that are frustrating to all of us this year. Get it out. Let's hear what has frustrated you in 2020, and then let's hear what you've learned about yourself and things in life. So looking forward to seeing this. Jax says, my biggest 2020 frustration has been how poorly people are treating one another. Yes, and the thing is, they've been doing that for a little while. But it seems like 2020 has really shone a light on that all the more. And of course, Jax, I think that's a product of the stress that this year has brought on, because we all know when people are stressed, their mental health certainly cannot be optimal. And so if your mental health is not optimal, how do you cope with that? For some people, they lash out. And so that's kind of what I see happening. And of course, we've forgotten that it's okay to disagree with people. Look, if you have a different point of view than me, that does not make you my enemy. It just makes you another beautiful human being who just happens to have another opinion than I do. I don't make you my mortal enemy. I don't think there's anything wrong with you. You just have a different worldview, and we can have that discussion. And I've been very deliberate, by the way, when I see someone who disagrees with me, to engage, because you don't just shut down people that disagree with you. You try to engage them, and I've been very pleasantly surprised in several instances where it didn't end in like personal attacks. It was literally a tit for tat on the topic at hand. And that can be done. I've seen it happen several times personally, but it takes special people on both ends to be deliberate about not being personal in the attacks. But you're right. People have been treating each other like pure crap, and that's horrible. Kelly says her frustration is all the hate and how it stresses her out. People can't talk about anything anymore. I have made it a point that if you come on any of my pages, which includes Jimmy Rants, and you start talking smack, you're going to get smacked. I don't put up with people who are ugly human beings because first and foremost, above anything else, we're all human beings. And as a human being, you deserve respect and love and compassion and care. No matter what you believe, no matter what you look like, no matter what your socioeconomic situation is, your age, all of that is irrelevant. You're a human being. And so if you're human, let's treat each other like the humans that we are. There's really no reason to have hate for anybody. Disagreement, yes. Hate, no. And I agree with you, Kelly. I actually have had many people DM me recently, and they said, I had to get offline. I just wanted to let you know I miss seeing your stuff, but I just couldn't handle all of the stress of all the ugliness. And I'm like, dude, I get it. Like, I totally get that. And so you got to do what you got to do to protect your own mental health. Beth says there are great people within America, but America is no longer great. Well, I disagree with that. I think America is incredible. America was founded on solid principles. We can argue, the points about, okay, well, when they said all men are created equal, they didn't really believe that because we still had slaves, blah, 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 blah. We could go down that rabbit hole. I think the country as founded is indeed great, but people within the country that greatness has come from seem to have some people seem to have an opinion that it could be better with another situation. And so I think you have it backwards, personally, Beth, that that America is great, but there are people that aren't so great within America that are trying to change it from what it was supposed to be when it was founded. Joshua says, when you find out that a person can't respect your convictions, you know that it's time to start separating from them. Yes. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I've seen a fluctuation in my following, especially here on Instagram, all year long. And that's cool. I don't mind losing some, gaining some. For the year, I'm up. But I lost like a ton early on when I started talking about childhood trauma. And then I lost some when I started talking about the BLM movement. I lost some more when I started talking about COVID, stay in your lane, I don't care. I'm, again, going to speak from my heart and be Jimmy 100% of the time. Rachel says, I have several friends who are very different from me and they have differing opinions. We still accept and respect each other. And that's beautiful, Rachel. I would hope every person has that kind of relationship with friends, that you could have a multiplicity of different friends who don't believe what you believe. How boring would it be if you all agreed on exactly everything? Like, yawn. Give me somebody that adds a little spice to the conversations and can mix things up and challenge you. That's the thing I love about having people that have differing opinions. They challenge you to figure out why you believe what you believe. So I love having those kind of relationships. Rachel says, I lost all of my work acquaintances. While I don't miss toxic people, I do miss seeing people in the pre-COVID world. Yeah, that's another frustration I did not mention, is the isolation this year. I usually, by this point in the year, have hugged thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people. In 2020, I have hugged 2 people. One of them was my goddaughter, and the other one was her mom, my goddaughter's mom. That's it. That's it. Oh, I take that back. 3, because I did hug a friend who's a couple hours from me. She's one of my Jimmy Rants fans, Brittany. So 3 people this year. 3 in the whole year, and I'm usually at about 3,000. So So the social isolation has been difficult, and not being able to interact with people, and these stupid masks covering up these beautiful faces that have all these expressions. I miss human expression. I miss human contact. I miss human affection. All of that has been stripped away from us in 2020. My word for 2020 is deeper, and maybe that will carry over into 2021. Maybe you could be deeper in 2021, Joshua. I love your point of view. It's so refreshing. Thank you, Tanji. Holly says, I will miss your inspiration for the next 2 months. Well, I will miss being here, but I need that time away. And I know all of you guys respect that and you appreciate that I take care of Jimmy. Yeah. Oh, Brittany just showed up. Brittany, it's like Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. I was just talking about how I have only hugged 3 people in the whole year, and you're one of those 3. So I want to see your list. I'm going to come back to you in a minute, Brittany, of what your lists are with the things that you're frustrated about in 2020 and what you've learned. But let me pop over here now. Thank you, Instagram, to my Facebook channel. See what you guys have to say. Just a reminder, Facebook or YouTube, one of you guys, somebody on there that leaves me a comment is going to win a copy of one of my books today here live on the air. So get ready. Get ready. All right, let's see what you guys have to say. We will miss you, but totally understand the need to get away. It's been a really rough year. Yeah, Emily, you have no idea. So, Christine wants to know, are you coming back, right? I said, Let's just say yes, I'm coming back. When I'm coming back, I don't know. Do I want to come back January 1st? You bet I do. But the situation, the personal situation in my life will dictate a lot of that. And so, yeah, I'm going away the months of November and December, most definitely going to be away. I need that. I think post-election it's going to be chaotic in our country. So I want to be the heck out of Dodge, not be online and exposed to all that toxicity. And I encourage you guys, same. Don't go on social media starting Wednesday next week, like even Tuesday night. Just get off. Just stay off for a period of time because it's going to be mass chaos online. And I want no part of that. So when I come back, I guess will be dictated by a lot of things, how that chaos calms down, how the personal things in my own life are settled or not settled. So there's a lot of kind of balls up in the air, not sure where they're going to fall yet. So we will see. So love this information. Thank you, Libby. I'm frustrated that they blame the spread of the virus on one person. Yeah, I mean, that is something that this whole year, it seems like the vilification of individuals, be it health officials, be it politicians, government officials, it's just been ugly. And I don't think it serves any good purpose. I don't like that they've picked and choose who they're going to censor. Yeah. And see, here's the thing. They've been censoring those of us in the alternative health space for a little while. It didn't take 2020 for that to happen. They were already working on some of that stuff long before COVID-19 came. But it seems like they've really been like, okay, this is our year. Everybody's paying attention to COVID and the election, the race stuff. Let's try to get away with it. Well, they've been overt about it and you can't help but see it. So the selectiveness of who they allow, what opinions they allow to go through versus the ones they don't allow to go through has been extremely frustrating. Christine says, I'm also frustrated. Some people are saying all cops have racist intent as if that's their main purpose in serving us. There are a few bad apples in every profession. Last night, a police officer was run over while trying to keep a handle on the protests in Pennsylvania after a black man wielding a knife was shot. Yeah, I posted a video of some of the aftermath of that on my social media today. And yeah, I don't like this vilification of police officers. You know, I grew up in a world where the police, the medical profession, teachers, the military, all of those were heralded as heroic. Firefighters, heroic. actions and professions, and people stood in respect and awe of those professions. And this kind of negative connotation when it comes to police officers now. I even had the local sheriff here in Spartanburg in South Carolina. He went on the radio a few weeks ago, and the host asked him, hey, what's it been like for your officers? And he actually says to them, don't wear your uniform when you're off duty. Don't take the squad car. Don't wear your uniform into stores, because you just never know who's going to act crazy on you. And I'm thinking, okay, if the police officers are the ones that are racist and are ugly and da-da-da, and yet they're the ones being gunned down and all this, like those two cops in LA that they were just sitting in their car doing paperwork, and a suspect came up and just shot them both in the face. That has got to stop. And it's why I don't think this whole notion of keeping that narrative up that white cops are all racist and they all have, like you said, racist intent to kill black people. This might be controversial, but I'm going to say it because it's true. If you are a criminal and you have a weapon in your hand, drop the damn weapon. Give yourself up. You won't get shot. Now, I'm going to be called racist for saying that, but that's the truth. And the person in Pennsylvania, that was the situation last night. He had a knife in his hand. Put the knife down. He still got the knife. Put the knife down. He still got the knife. He lunges at the cop. They're going to shoot. Why are we surprised? What happened to rationality? What happened to personal responsibility and personal consequences? That is frustrating, guys, when you see that happening over and over and over again. And then this disdain for the cops is what empowers these people to act foolish in front of the cops. And by acting foolish, then they get shot, and then they want to blame the racist white cop for shooting someone who had a weapon, who was acting erratically as a criminal. Like, this is not hard to understand. And I think enough of us rational thinking people, we see that, we know that, and we're not putting up with the crap anymore. Brian says, we're going to miss all your hard work and research. Thank you, Brian. I love what I get to do, but it's going to be nice to be away for a bit. Emily says, I agree, Sharon. It's like they're deliberately censoring certain things, trying to sway you one way or another. Yeah. Show us all the information or show us none of the information, but don't show us only one side of the information. That is called propaganda. Norma says, I miss being on Facebook and not being able to post without someone for or against me commenting. Don't post as much anymore. And you're not alone. I've had people say that, and that is something that has been frustrating this year, is if you're just expressing your opinion and yet it's not the opinion of the person who runs the page, they'll either blast you or send their followers to go blast you, or they'll just delete you or block you. It's unfortunate you can't just have conversations anymore. It just doesn't happen. Lynn says, the worst part of 2020 has been the cancel culture. 1 out of 4 children canceled me. That broke me to pieces. Yeah, Lynn, you're not alone. A lot of people have seen that. Christine says, I think with more time on people's hands, they become more volatile and aggressive. I think maybe people are seeing much more media than before, working from home, unemployed, and it's making people mean and angry. Well, yeah, that's another frustrating thing about 2020. The media has just ginned up all of this. Oh my God, we have 5 new cases of COVID-19. And you're like, 5 cases, you mean that has a 99.997% recovery rate for people under the age of 50? That COVID-19 with 5 new cases of that thing? But you're right. They sensationalize the news now. If they just stated facts and never invoked opinion, it probably would not be ginned up to this level. But they also love having the divisiveness of everything, because that's eyeballs. Ginning up things that aren't there has a lot more viewership And so therefore they're going to keep doing it. I have not watched a television. I just don't. I don't watch the television. I don't really consume a lot of media. Anything that I do see is in YouTube video clips of things like during the Amy Coney Barrett proceeding in the Senate. I watched almost most of that in replay clips on YouTube. I'll watch some of the various things on there, but other than that, I don't really consume a lot of video media. Alrighty, thank you, Facebook. I'm going to pop over now. I'm going to scoot you guys to the side because I got a bunch of comments that came in over on YouTube. See what you guys have to say over here. All right. Good morning. Good morning. I learned that working full-time from home is a lot more challenging than being able to go to the office. It's been more difficult to separate home and work. I'd find myself answering emails all night. Yeah, thank you, Mika. You're not alone. I've had a lot of people say that, where it's been challenging kind of doing everything from home. Well, as someone who works from home, it's been no big deal for me to do what I do from home because I do what I do from home. It's no big deal. But for a lot of people, depending on your job, it's very challenging. And especially if you have kids in the background who are supposed to be doing schooling at home, especially in the spring when they just sprung that upon all these parents and suddenly they were having to do their job from home, rear their children, homeschool them. I couldn't even imagine what it was like. So yeah, big challenge. But here's the thing, a lot of people have adapted to this whole working at home and now they want to do it full time. So I love that people are getting a taste of what that feels like to be able to work from home. And let me challenge you. I think if you like this idea of working from home and you've got an idea for how you could work on your own, can I encourage you to do it? And maybe that's the lesson you learn from this is, whoa, I can do and earn a living from home and not have to do the whole rigmarole of driving through traffic every day and going away from my family. You could actually do it. Now, I know some people that get the heck out of Dodge and they love going to work so they don't have to be around the family all day. I do know people like that. But if you can make it work and work from home and work in your passion field and do something that can make your family a living, go for it. If that's something you learned in 2020, I think that would be something invaluable. Let's see here. Oh wow, it went way back. Let's see. My frustration is people who are saying, look at the science, seem to be the ones not looking at the actual science, says Shirley. Yeah, which science? Because look at the science, especially about the masks, for example. Look at the science. The science shows masks have great efficacy. Oh, you mean the scientific evidence that had to be redacted and yet it's still being quoted as, quote, the science? That science, is that what we're referring to? Or the newer science that says breathing in your own CO2 is actually not very healthy for you? Which science are you referring to? By the way, Sean Stevenson, the Model Health podcast, did a wonderful job. He did a YouTube video and a podcast all about the science behind why mask wearing is dangerous. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. Anne says, I learned this year that I have a narcissistic parents and I'm having to deal with that. Yeah, I think a lot of parents are narcissistic and that their kids are the victims of that, unfortunately. Let's see here. Abel says, grateful to have you in our lives. Allison says, hi. Hi, Abel and Allison. Appreciate you guys watching all the time. By the way, go pick up some of Abel's stuff. So I'm going to give you a shout out here since you shouted me out. Go pick up. This is my favorite vitamin D. It's called Vitamin D Stack. I'm going to show all three cameras so you guys can see it. This is from Abel James's company, Wild Superfoods. So go look it up. Vitamin D Stack. Go get this, you guys. This is my favorite one because it's got A, D, E, K1, K2. So that's all the fat-soluble vitamins. And yeah, you can actually go to his website, what is it, wildsuperfoods.com, to pick up a bottle. Lauren says, this year I've cut out a lot of people, mostly family on my side and husband's side, because of how they treat me and others. Good. And I wish more people would cut people out of their lives. I actually cut my dad out of my life this year. When I started talking about the childhood trauma, he calls my mom and says, oh my God, I think something's wrong with Jimmy. He's lying and telling my mom that I'm making up all this stuff about being beat when I was a kid. And my mom told him to go F himself, which I loved. And then, yeah, I'm just like, if he's still in denial about it, then I have no reason to keep him in my life. So I'm with you there, Lauren. Johanna says, I've learned who my friends are and who are not. And yes, there aren't so many, only a few. And that's good. You have a few friends, and that's kind of the way it's supposed to be. Shirley says, I've learned more about politics than I ever really wanted to. I actually enjoy it now. I never thought I'd see the day. Well, politics, no. I think caring about issues that matter is a good thing. And I think we have seen a lot of that this year. I'm saddened by how many people are so extreme. They're not open-minded, can't just agree to disagree, and so easily disrespect others as if it's nothing. That is the formula of the day, unfortunately. Shirley says, I've learned I'm a much better teacher than my public school system, which makes sense now. Yeah, a lot of parents kind of got thrust into the homeschooling thing. I wonder how many will start homeschooling them always. That'll be interesting to see if the numbers shift in homeschooling. Some people sit and think of nasty things to say online. Jill, you know you're talking to the king of the recipient of those kinds of things. So, yeah. Marianne says, thanks for all your topics and discussions. Thank you. I'm always trying to make you think. I think I'm going to follow your lead and get the heck off of social media, at least in the month of November. It's very highly, highly recommended. All right. Donsky says, we ain't scared of COVID-19 talk. Talk about something else. Yeah, exactly. That's all they've talked about this year. Nurse Feelgood, I'm late to the party, was doing homework. My biggest frustration is the hate around politics and the election. I don't discuss it. They say they cannot be associated with someone who votes one way or another. I have to keep my mouth shut, valuing relationships over politics. Well, that's where you also evaluate whether that relationship is worth having with them having, especially since you didn't engage, you don't know how they would respond to you challenging them. But I guess you were fearful that challenging them would lose the relationship. And I get that. There's some people that they just go along to get along because they like their friends outside of their viewpoint. And so push the envelope, though. Just push back and just say, yeah, that's interesting, but what about, and then share your opinion. Just see how they respond. I think that would be very interesting as a test for you. Kira says, I canceled my cable TV so I don't get to see the commercials promoting being safe because it's apparently the only goal in life. Yeah. Again, I don't watch television. I even canceled my Netflix. When they did the whole cuties thing, pushing the child porn, I can't give my money to a company willing to do that. I'm disappointed and frustrated that they can't see why people are upset by that. So I really want to see The Social Dilemma, and I really want to see Cobra Kai, and those are both exclusively on Netflix. So hopefully they get their act together and remove that stupid Cuties movie, so I can go back and resubscribe to Netflix. All right, thank you, YouTube and Facebook. Let me go back over here to Instagram. Brittany says, my word for 2020 was elevate. Have you been elevated this year, Brittany? It just a little smidge, a little bit. And Lord knows I've had no choice but to elevate my thinking. Yes, Brittany and I talk quite a bit. We're really good friends. And so it's been a tough year, to say the least. And a lot of challenges for her specifically. And so elevate, when you came up with that word, you had no idea just how applicable that word was going to be, did you? Frustrating is such a constant emotion this year, says Diana. Yeah, it's almost like if you're not frustrated, you're not alive, because we all have our own frustrations about stuff this year. That girl from Brooklyn, is this an airing of grievances day? Time to put up the Festivus poll. Yes, I am literally making a safe space for people to air their grievances. By all means, that girl from Brooklyn. Um, it's been a frustrating year, and I just don't think enough people have had the freedom to just get out what those things are that frustrated them. So I'm happy to provide that platform here today on Jimmy Rants, and to let you share what you've learned from all that. Brittany says, I've been frustrated with the lack of emotional maturity in the world. Oh, girl. That could preach. Like, I don't think most people have any emotional maturity or emotional intelligence. And until you're pushed to your brink and having to learn to cope and having to learn to become resilient, I don't think you know how to be emotionally mature. Honestly, I think most people emotionally are little toddlers. And when things go a little bit crazy, they throw a temper tantrum, literally. And so that's kind of where we are, and we're seeing that on full display. It's almost as if there needs to be a teaching of how you handle things emotionally. Um, and not everybody does that work, as you well know. It breaks my heart that it isn't taught, and therefore we are all broken after the onslaught of this year. Well, I'm hoping that this year brings on a whole new attention to mental health, because mental health has been severely compromised in 2020. And even of the strongest people, it's challenged the best of us. So I can't imagine if you have even a little smidge of some mental health concerns, anxiety, depression, and all the rest, and even a chemical imbalance up there in your brain, this has had to really mess with you. I've had many personal frustrations this year as well. I mean, almost dying in January sums up what 2020 has been. Yeah, we all feel like we've died a little bit on the inside. I've climbed my way back to where I am while processing what is still going on. Yes, you have been a trooper, and I've been honored to share this journey with you, Brittany. Um, and you are powerful and strong, and I'm honored to know you as a friend. And yeah, you're doing it, girl. And I'm very proud of you. You've done phenomenal work on top of all the everything else, the COVID, the race relations, the election, all the everything, and then your personal journey. And you've had great things happen in your life. And it's sometimes when you have such negativity, it's almost like that strong pull of the negative makes you forget about the good things. And so I've had to remind you often of the good things that are happening in your life, brand new home and all kinds of things. So I think 2021, you're going to see a vastly different world than you did in 2020. Joshua says, I've learned that even though I can't change our government's rules, he lives in Canada, by the way, you guys, I can act in alignment with my consciousness. I will stand up for what I believe in, and I've realized I'm willing to take the heat. Yeah, when you have the convictions of your heart, you take that chance and you speak up. Guys, I've been doing it all year. I've not been afraid of consequences for the things I say. Have I gotten heat? You bet I have. Am I going to get heat for this Jimmy Rants today because I've said things that are controversial? You bet I will. I don't care. It's how I feel. And the last time I checked, again, the First Amendment of the Constitution gives you the freedom of speech to talk about what you want to talk about. And I'm over this idea that if you don't talk about the things you're, quote, supposed to talk about, that you're not allowed to talk. Screw that. That makes me all the more want to talk. And it's why I did this Jimmy Rants today, because I had a feeling. Woo-hoo. Sorry, Black Eyed Peas. That threw me off. I had a feeling that people would want to share in their heart that they have had frustrations. And I wanted you to have that opportunity to be able to share what those frustrations are. Frustration, Diana says that personal empowerment and responsibility for our own health, safety, and happiness is totally disregarded. Yeah, I mentioned that at the beginning, that they haven't said anything about that. And yeah, if we take control of our own health, which is what a lot of us do, and we take on all the risks associated with possibly being exposed to COVID-19, why aren't we allowed to get out there and live our lives without restrictions? Why can't I walk into any old store and not have to wear a mask if there's a mask mandate in the area? Why do I have to feel like the government's going to mandate I take a vaccine when I don't want a vaccine for something that has a 99+% recovery rate? Like, there's a lot of things frustrating about that personal empowerment and responsibility issue. So I agree with you there. Brittany says, as far as the COVID, the mask, yes. The lack of seeing smiles, it's been hard. I have a strong sense to do what is right, so we wear them. Well, I have a strong sense to do what I feel is right in my heart. And quite honestly, right in my heart is not to breathe in my own CO2. I'm not worried about being confronted. And by the way, I have gone in lots of stores without wearing a mask, and I've had yet to have one person say a single word. I've yet to have one person give me a stink eye. It could be because I'm 6'3" and a big boy that they don't mess with me, but nobody said anything. Now, when I go into a store with no mask on, I'm very respectful. I not only go 6 feet apart, I'm like 12, 15 feet from anybody. I keep my lips closed the whole time. I'll even sometimes pierce them and like showing them that I'm not talking, so there's no droplets going in the air when I'm if I was to talk. I'm not talking. And if like at the checkout at the grocery store, the girl says, "Thanks for coming in," I'll wave. And I don't ever talk. And I get my food, I get out, and that's it. It's not hard. The only place I've had trouble with that is Costco. I tried walking into Costco and, "Sir, you need a mask." And so I turned around and I just waved them off and I just walk out. I did notice though that there were people not wearing their mask properly. Another frustration. If this is real, put it over your mouth and your nose. And that's the proper way to wear it. Well, what people were doing was they had it right here. So their mouth was exposed, their nose exposed, but they were wearing a mask over their chin. What the hell is that doing? And so when I needed more Kerrygold butter, I get it from Costco because it's the best price. I went in with the mask over my chin. My mouth was open, my nose was open. They let me right through. Makes no damn sense to me. So if they're not going to enforce proper use of the mask, why are we wearing the masks to begin with? And if someone's wearing a mask because it's supposed to protect them from COVID-19, why do you care? If you're wearing a mask, you're protected. Why do you care if I wear one? I remember going to the manager at Costco and saying, "I promise, if you let me in the store without a mask on, I won't talk. I'll just keep my mouth shut and just go get my stuff and get out." Literally all I needed was Kerrygold butter, maybe some moon cheese. That was it. I was just gonna go in, grab the Kerrygold butter and the moon cheese and get out. And he's like, "No, if people see you without a mask, they're gonna harass you." I said, "I've literally not been harassed in any store I've been in." But I said, I respect your business decision not to let people in without a mask on, but it's unfortunate. And then I threatened to close the membership. "Oh, no, don't do that. We want your business." Because I think they are having a lot of people cancel their memberships. And so it's going to have an economic impact. And yet this is being thrust on them. So yes, I could talk all day, Brittany, about the mask, but you are so right. Joshua says it's frustrating seeing a bunch of new shows on Netflix and Primetime or Amazon Prime about viruses and sickness. Well, they're pretending like they're educating us, but yeah, you're right. I haven't seen any of that because I do have Amazon Prime, but I don't really watch TV. With all that I do in my work, I don't have a lot of time for that. Now, when I'm away November, December, I'm going to have a lot of time, so maybe I'll try to catch up on some things and see spin they are, but that's interesting. There's a bunch of new ones on sickness and viruses. Brittany says, we homeschooled before COVID, and I'm forever grateful. Yeah, I'm wondering how many of the homeschool parents going, ha 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 ha, because you already like had this down pat, but not everybody was ready for that. Val says, I was already home, been home since 2006, so not a big deal for you. Frustrating thing has not been having family reunions. Yeah, and family reunions, get-togethers with friends. The keto conferences were all canceled this year. I usually go to about 5 to 6 different keto conferences in a year. There have been exactly 0 this year. And the virtual ones aren't the same because you don't go to the conference necessarily to hear all these speakers. You go to the conferences for the camaraderie of the people. And so without that camaraderie of the people and meeting people and interacting with people and creating friendships, that's what you get at these conferences. You ever go to KetoCon or PaleoFX or the Metabolic Health Summit or Low Carb USA or Low Carb Denver, any of these events, you go to any of these events, your primary purpose is developing friendships and relationships with people. That's what they're about. And to connect with people and to hug people's necks. I'm the hugger at conferences. If you ever see me at a conference, you better come up to me because I'm going to give you a big hug. That's just my jam. And so that's been missing this year. And so, yeah, all of those things with reunions, get-togethers, like they're even telling people in California, the governor there, well, I hope you don't have Thanksgiving get-together because if you do, you need to be 6 feet apart and you need to make sure you put a mask on between bites of eating turkey. And I'm going, is this guy for real? No, I think we're going to be okay. And I am going to go see my mom and my sister in Pensacola, Florida, sometime in November or December. It depends on this other situation. I have to be on call for that. But if that situation resolves, I'm going to Florida to see my family. So I am excited about doing that. Tangi says, the most frustrating 2020 moment was seeing my grandma locked up like a prisoner in her care facility in California in total isolation, got COVID-19 anyway, and died when a staffer infected her. I'm so sorry. And there's been a lot that were in nursing homes. If they didn't die of COVID-19, they're dying of loneliness. And I remember seeing a video where a family came to visit grandma, basically, and all they could do was look through a window outside, and you could just see the tears and the sadness on that woman's face. I can see her face in my mind's eye now, and it's just, that's no way to end your life. You've lived your whole life, you've got these beautiful grandchildren, and you can't even hold them, touch them, nothing. It's sad, you're right, and I'm sorry for your loss, by the way. Caitlin says, just found your podcast on Spotify 2 weeks ago. Can't get enough. Thank you for what you do. Thank you. Yeah, so I have the Livin' La Vida Low Carb Show, which airs Tuesday and Wednesday. And then I have another podcast called Real Talk that airs on Thursdays. Both of those are in the top 100 of the health and nutrition podcasts. So go check those out, you guys. And yes, Spotify is one of the newer places that you can find it. Teresa says, so far my biggest takeaway for 2020 is I need to be reading the Word of God daily. I encourage everyone to meditate on the Bible. Scripture is pretty wise. Definitely. Jen says, I find it frustrating that if you have a different opinion on the masks or on who you might be voting for, that somehow you are a racist, you don't care about anyone. Comment section on Instagram is brutal. Oh, Instagram is the tamest. It's brutal on Twitter, then Facebook, then YouTube, then Instagram. So if you're getting it on Instagram, just know you're getting the PG-13 version of what you get on Twitter. Twitter is XXX. It's just nasty, gross. Facebook is rated R. Strong, mature audiences only. It's somewhat that way over on YouTube as well. But Instagram's the PG-13 of all of that. But you're right. You can't share a different opinion that goes off that. You can't say that Black Lives Matter is a Marxist organization that doesn't give money to the black community. You can't say that. Oh my God. That's like, no. But never mind the fact that it's true. I respect those people whose opinions are different than mine. Please respect that I have an opinion. Exactly. Exactly. Joshua says he's going to start wearing a mask on his forehead if they're not going to pay attention. So much fear, says Tanya, they think they are going to die. Yeah, it is sad, the situation we find ourselves in. We're not allowed to honor my grandmother with a funeral. I miss basic human decency and compassion where only fear seems to exist now. Yeah, if you lost a loved one this year and you weren't allowed to go to their funeral, I have my goddaughter's mother lost her mother this year. And they went to the funeral. They allowed exactly 12 people. So my goddaughter's mother was the daughter of this person who died. So she obviously was allowed in. And then I think 2 grandchildren, including my goddaughter, were allowed to come, and then a few others. And so it's sad that a lot of people don't even get that decency. Jen says, I had to delete my Facebook because of all the toxic onslaught every day. And you're not the only one. Like, I've seen that, and I've had people, like I said earlier, I've had people like tell me, oh, I'm so sorry I'm not engaging on Jimmy Rants anymore, but I just couldn't handle it. I'm like, no, I get it. If I could be off sooner, I would. And so that's why I'm taking off November, December. It's just way too much. It's been a very frustrating year in so many ways here in 2020. We've learned so many things that maybe you didn't think at the beginning of the year you were going to learn, but now you've learned some lessons. And so I'm really glad we could have a Jimmy Rants therapy session here today. Thank you so much for joining us, you guys. And that's it for this episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. And as always, you can engage live in the content. Go follow me. I'm right here on Instagram. I'm at Livin' Low Carb Man, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. Once you're there, engage live. We are here Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Thank you so much. We also simulcast live over on Facebook. You're the one I'm going to pick a winner for my freebies, farewell freebies contest. So these are the books that are up for grabs. One of you here today on Facebook is going to win your choice of any of these books that I have in my personal library. I've written all these books. So one of you is about to win your choice of one of these books. So who wants to win? I want to see who wants to win. Let's go. Who wants to win? We also simulcast live over on YouTube, which tomorrow, YouTube, we're going to choose a winner from you guys tomorrow. So definitely be on live tomorrow. We will pick a winner over there on YouTube. So get ready, get ready, get ready. All right, so let's see who I can choose. Just going to close my eyes, randomly scroll, and I'm going to hit somebody. And it looks like Sharon Swafford, you are my winner. I'm going to take a screenshot here. Sharon Swafford, you are the winner. All you have to do is send me a DM with your full name, your mailing address, and which book you want. And we will get that out to you. So congratulations, Sharon. Again, that's not the last time I'm giving away books. So if you didn't win yet again, don't worry, I'm giving away several dozen, and especially Friday. Come back Friday for Ask Me Anything. I'm going to go crazy on Friday. So on Friday, I'm going to be giving away a ton of books. So come back definitely on Ask Me Anything. So anyway, that's how we're doing this. And then any of my posts this week, if you leave a comment, I will pick a winner from the comment. So definitely do that as well. So congratulations once again, Sharon. All right, so if you missed the live, you can watch it on replay right here on Instagram. It's on IGTV. Just as soon as this is over, we will throw it up over there. So thank you for watching if you watched this on the replay. We also put the replay up over on YouTube. Just type in a keyword, Jimmy Rants. You will find the show. Today is on the Livin' La Vida Low Carb Show, Jimmy Rants on LLVLC Day. And we've got the study that talked about fasting not being good for weight loss that I eviscerated several weeks ago. Go listen to the podcast today, llvlc.com or wherever you listen to podcasts. And then finally, pop on over to jimmyrants.com. It's the official website for this show. and you can see all the past episodes there. You can also show your support either through a PayPal link or the Patreon link, and a donation of any amount would be greatly appreciated. Okay, guys, thank you so much. I wasn't sure how this episode was going to go, but we went 75 minutes, so it must have went well. Thank you for being so expressive and open about the things that have frustrated you in 2020 and what you've learned from this year. I'm excited to be back again tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, right here on Jimmy Rants. We'll see you then. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, did Sharon go away? Sharon, you want a book? I'll have to reach out to her directly through direct message to let her know she won. She'll be like, oh my God, I should have stayed on. I saw somebody say something over here. Nurse feel good. I'm not very good at expressing my views. I get flustered easily. Yeah, you're not alone. Misfit says the fashion masks do nothing. So when I saw that, you can put literally anything over your mouth and nose, and there is no standard. It's more about social engineering than science. Yeah, exactly. And then they're like any old rag over your face, and I'm going, no, I don't think that's how it works. Although with Halloween on Saturday, I thought about going into a store with a Jason mask on. Or a Freddy Krueger mask. How cool would that be? The winner's name, Mika, was Sharon over here on Facebook. But stay tuned, guys. Oh, Sharon, there you are. Sharon, you won. Are you excited? You were the person I chose. That you get to choose your book. So DM me, sweetie. You won my farewell freebies contest here live on Jimmy Rants today. So yes, DM me. Let me know which book you want, what your name is, what your full mailing address is, and we will get that book out in the mail to you. So congratulations. And I'm autographing it, of course. So congrats. All right, let me pop off of here for now. We will see you again tomorrow at 11 a.m. And in the meantime, engage in my work. Leave a comment. I'm just randomly going into posts that I'm putting up. And then if you comment on that post, that's your entry. And I'm going to just randomly choose people to win all week long. By the time the week's over, there's going to be several dozen of my books given away. So you still got a lot of chances to win. Go engage. Thanks for being here. And we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.